Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point Shorts. And today we are going to follow up on the Monique video that I shared last week. I was going to talk about the video in the video. It was when she did a Periscope while she was being interviewed on the Breakfast Club. But my lighting, I lost one of my camera lights. And so I wasn't able to do it. And now I'm just trying to fake it until the new light comes in. So wasn't really much I wanted to say about the video. It's not a matter of, believing what Monique is saying, not believing what she's saying. I pretty much just want to talk about why we go so hard to disprove one another. And I understand everybody isn't going to support Monique, which is fine, but why can't we not support from a distance and just be quiet? I find it troublesome, but not unusual, how hard Black people are going, to try and discount and disprove her as if they have a vested interest in the outcome. And it's just like the whole battle between T.S. Madison and Kaya with the Queen's Court, and I have a couple of videos on that, if you watch the Queen's Court, if you want to know what I'm talking about. But, it's just easier to believe the negative and the spin machine, than it is to hear what Monique is really trying to say. And what she's really talking about is the inequality and the fact that you're going to offer one person $13 million, $20 million to do the same thing that you're asking me to do, but you're only going to offer me $500,000. And then people want to get into, well, she's irrelevant. She hasn't did this. She hasn't done that in all these years. And what she pointed out in one of her interviews, because I shared the Breakfast Club interview, but she was also on The View that same day. And then, she's just been doing a lot of interviews on the media circuit, which I also can't understand. Why do people want to bring them onto their platforms just to try and beat her down and discount her and to drive this narrative telling her that, she's irrelevant? And one thing that she pointed out in one of the interviews was that somebody had brought up about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is retired now, but if Kobe decided to come back, he's not going to make the same money that he would have made, when he was in the NBA the first time around or when he first came out. And she pointed out that, of course, he's not, because basketball, his talent has diminished. He's gotten older. He's not as fast. She said, but with comedy, either you funny or you're not funny. You don't lose your skills just because, you're not selling out arenas. And so, so I just feel like people can't hear the message that she's putting out because they're too focused on who's delivering the message and their preconceived notions and just their willingness to just not want to give her a chance. And so it kind of reminds me of the civil rights movement, where 50 years later, people who once criticized others for being radical and outspoken, they're now celebrated. So we have people like Fannie Lou Hamer, who didn't play the radio, didn't care. She was going to be up in your face, say what she got to say, whether you like it or not, whether you want to hear it or not. And where, people kind of treated her like they're treating Monique, why don't she go sit down? We don't want to hear all that. We doing okay over here where we're at. But now, she's one of the faces, one of the icons of the civil rights movement. And then, look at how they treated Malcolm X. Malcolm X was radical. He's a Muslim. He don't care nothing about us. But today he's celebrated, and we realize we needed Malcolm X. He played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement. We could go on and on and on. The way the Black Panther Party was treated, the way the government turned it to make it seem like they were this terrorist group. They were, full of hate, and they were, promoting violence, when they were talking about, self-sufficiency, the black community, taking care of the black community. But nobody wanted to hear that message back then. But here it is 50 years later, after the brothers done been killed and just the organization torn apart. Now people get it, and then they want to talk about, the Black Panther Party and what it meant to the black community. And then someone on, what's my social media page? I can't remember if it had to be Twitter because I shut down my Facebook. But she was saying, Monique is crazy for asking people to boycott Netflix, when she knows how much black people like watching Netflix. And, she should have taken the $500,000 and hoped that they offered her more the next time. And her speaking out, may make them more insensitive when it comes to pricing for minorities down the road. I don't know what she was talking about, so I took her tweet and I replied to it, and I changed it to, Rosa Parks. And so I said, Rosa Parks was crazy for asking people to boycott the Montgomery bus system. She knew how many people relied on the bus for transportation. She should have just gave up her seat, and maybe the next time she got on the bus, they wouldn't have had more white people on the bus, and she wouldn't have had to move to the back of the bus or been asked to move to the back of the bus. And, she may have caused the white employers to fire the black people because they were mad about the boycott. Same thing, just changed the names. And it's sad that, almost 60 years later, people are still arguing in that mindset that we should be happy with what we're offered. We should take what we're given. We should move to the back of the bus and just be grateful that we have a seat on the bus. And so then I think it came up on my home page because, I don't follow Tommy Sotomayor, but every now and then I will check out his page if something crazy that happened in the news and I want to get his perspective. So he was doing a live feed about an interview that Monique did with some radio station, 104 GML or KML, and the host name was Sana G. Never heard of him before I saw that. So I clicked on it to see what was going on. And basically, her and the two other guys that's on the radio platform with her were having a conversation talking about why she felt it was important for her to diss Monique when Monique came on their show, and why she was rude to Monique and didn't speak to Monique. And I'm sitting there like, your job as a radio host, when you have guests come in, is to make the guests feel comfortable, to have a conversation and to touch on whatever it is that the guest is promoting or what information you're trying to get out to the community. So how do you spend a whole hour on your radio show trying to justify why you were rude and disrespectful to a customer, a guest to your show? Like, that was so crazy to me. And I'm trying to think, when I used to work in client management, I had clients that I couldn't stand. But when they got on the phone, I was nice and polite and helped them with whatever that they needed. And I'm just thinking, like, how did we get to a society where we're fighting for likes and shares by being rude and disrespectful? Because that's the only thing that I can think of that would have made this woman think that it was okay to act the way she did. So, of course, after watching that video, that made me want to go find the interview. So I found the interview. I'm watching the interview, and I'm waiting to get to the part where she claimed Monique was rude and disrespectful and talking to her any kind of way. And I'm just sitting there like, are black people going crazy, or maybe I'm going crazy, because I'm not getting this whole thing. I'm not understanding what's going on, because the only time Monique even really addressed the woman, because the entire interview she was sitting there with her arms folded, she was going through her phone, just being blatantly disrespectful to Monique, or not Monique, being blatantly disrespectful to a guest on her show. Like, you're not important, you're not worth my time, I don't want to, be doing this. Like, letting Monique know that I don't appreciate having to be sitting here in the same room with you. And on the show where they were trying to defend their actions, she said at least 10 times, I didn't want to do the interview. I was trying to get out of town, get up out of here, and they told me I had to come back and interview her, so that was the only reason I was in there. And I'm just like, you should be unemployed at this point. Like, forget that it was Monique. Just say it was anybody sitting in that chair and you treat it that way. You do not deserve to have the platform that you have. So it was the same conversation, as the Breakfast Club, as The View, The View wasn't that bad as the Breakfast Club and this Sanaa woman. But, they basically was trying to, go with that whole, you're not relevant right now. Yeah, you were a legend, but you were a legend for things that you did years ago. And, we keep having the same conversation over and over, like they are just going to refute the message that Monique is trying to get out about inequality and gender bias and pay. And even when they know that there is bias on both ends, they are just, I don't know if they're being fed from the networks that this is what they have to do. And behind the scenes, they're saying, discount Monique, discount Monique, discount Monique, or if this is really how they feel. So here's my question about the whole situation. If we are really a community, we're Black people striving for better, trying to uplift each other, all this bull crap that we constantly spew on a daily basis, but then when it comes time to show and prove, we don't want to stand together. Why is it that, people keep saying, well, she hasn't done anything lately. She keeps pointing to in 2016 that she did the movie This Christmas. She's on tour right now. She's doing plays right now. She was actually in Tampa, Florida. I live in St. Pete, and Tampa's like 20 miles away. She was in Tampa a couple of weeks ago, and a friend of mine went, and I was just like, my God, I wish I had known you were going, because I wanted to go. I just don't like driving to Tampa by myself. And so she said that the show was pretty good. And, then I'm hearing that, some of the shows she's doing have been selling out. So obviously people want to see her. She has a fan base and everything. But they keep wanting to say, well, why don't you book an arena? Why don't you book an arena? And I'm thinking, how many comedians are booking arenas? Is that really, really that common? And so I got to thinking, okay, y'all want her in an arena. Why don't some of you Black folks, that's doing shows in arenas, that's selling out arenas. You remember when Escape was going on tour, they were going to let Nene open the show, doing the comedy routine. Why not call Monique and say, Monique, now listen, we trying to stand with you, sister. We're going to give you this opportunity, just to show the people that you're still relevant, you're still funny, that you can still stand, before how many tens of thousands of people that are in this room and perform. And what you do with this opportunity is up to you. If you fall on your face and you want to go and talk about how we made you fall on your face, that's on you. We're going to give you this opportunity, and then we're done with it. And you make the best of the opportunity as you know how. And then, we're not going to come back at you if it turns negative. We're not going to claim the praise if it turns out positive. We're just giving you an opportunity to put you before 10, 20,000 people. And so, who would that hurt? If celebrities came forth and said, if a Beyonce came forth and said, okay, Monique, we're going to let you do, 30 minutes of 30 minutes of stand-up to warm up the crowd, just to show the people, that you still have what it takes. But we don't see nobody doing that. Instead, what we get is Kevin Hart, because as I was watching the interview with Monique and the Sanaa people at the radio station I ain't never heard of before, I saw that they had also interviewed Kevin Hart, that Kevin Hart had been interviewed. And so I click on that link, and so they're talking to Kevin Hart on the phone, and basically when it gets around to asking about Monique and the whole Monique situation, he pretty much says that that's not my problem. And I was like, oh my God, he says it's not his problem. All he cares about is doing what he does to provide for his family. And, he loved Monique, but that's Monique's issue. And I'm just thinking, oh my God. Like, where would we be how did we get this mentality that is all about self? It's all about us. Like, can you imagine what would have happened during the end of slavery, during Jim Crow, during segregation, during the civil rights movement, if people, when I'm sure there were people that took that attitude, but what if everybody took that attitude that I'm all about self? And the thing that scares me when people make comments like Kevin Hart made is, what if tomorrow? What if tomorrow the rug is pulled from under you and those words come back to haunt you, and all the other comedians and celebrities said to you, it's not my problem. Not my horse, not my rodeo. How would he feel? How would he feel if Will Smith and all these people, The Rock and Ice Cube, all these people he done worked with, just said, oh, not my problem, buddy, you on your own? I just think it's crazy. I don't understand it. I really don't. I was just at a loss for words. I'm going to be honest with you. So at the end of the day, everyone has an opinion on everything. We all do. I'm here giving you my opinion. But to be honest, this is just another example why Black people get zero respect from corporations, from other communities, because we don't respect each other. We refuse to unify behind each other. We refuse to just put the work in to do, what needs to be done to elevate and to lift each other up higher. And I just hate to see Monique doing this media tour and people, who look like her are being her biggest detractors. And I have no doubt in my mind that 10 years from now, there's going to be some woman of color, some man of color who will be saying that, they got their big payday that they deserve because Monique paved the way. And I guess like Colin Kaepernick, you have to make up your mind and stand firm in your beliefs, even if you have to stand alone, even if it's going to cost you your career, if it's going to cost you friends, is it going to cause people to judge you? Because at the end of the day, you're the person that you are with at night. We can go through the day talking, being engaged, being busy, but when nighttime falls, and you lay your head on that pillow, it's just you and your thoughts. And as long as Monique is okay with how her day went, about how, she's delivering her message, about what she's trying to achieve through all of this, then I can't knock the chick. I'm like, do you, Monique? And I'm going to wish her the best. I'm going to wish her the best, like I wish Kaya the best, like I wish T.S. Madison the best, like I wish Colin Kaepernick the best. I mean, the most I can do, I can share your information. I can counter, if I'm on social media and somebody says something ridiculous and crazy, I can give my opinion. But I just think to be just hard pressed going into the paint. Like, I'm going to down Monique. I'm going to talk about Monique. Monique ain't this. Monique ain't that. She should be this. She should be that. I don't understand that part of it. Like, what are you getting out of downing and degrading her and just arguing this point to kind of diminish her message? Like, what's preventing you from stopping and hearing the bigger picture about the inequality and the gender bias and the pay bias and all of that? Why are you so cemented into your point of view that you can't hear that? And why are we so connected to corporations that we can't stand with each other? And I remember before I shut down my Facebook page, one of my Facebook friends asked, are we boycotting H&M or not? And it just made me think about how people were all up in arms about that cutest little monkey in the jungle shirt, and they were going to boycott H&M, but then everybody that commented on the post was like, well, I was at the mall the other day and there was Black folks in there. Like, we don't forget all about the boycott. Like, I don't know. It's just the stuff that we say we're going to support, the stuff that we refuse to support. Like, I don't have Netflix. I've never had Netflix. My daughter uses Netflix. I'm just at the position, like, I'm paying $125 for DirecTV. I got to pay $8.99 a month to see Power when it comes on Stars. Now I'm paying $14.99 a month to see The Chi. I ain't keep giving these white folks my money. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, and so if I had Netflix, Monique, I'd boycott them for you because I ain't that attached. I'm really not that attached. So guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about the whole situation. Mainly the whole interview that she did with the Sanaa G woman, if you saw it. I think I'll put the link below. But do you just think, take Monique out of the equation? If a guest came on your radio show, should you be allowed to be rude and disrespectful the way that this Sanaa woman was? And was it even appropriate to come back later and do a second show to justify why you were rude to a guest on your show? Let me know what you think. Rate the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I hope everyone has a fabulous week, and I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.